Thanks for staying with us. Let's do some social media before we get into our news review segment. And Abraham Danso from Duncan Offense says, Galamsey issue has become a social canker that needs to be critically looked into and, if possible, find alternative solution to it before it gets out of hand. Because the way the Galamsey is degrading our lands and water resources is very alarming, notwithstanding the death threat that the uncovered pit poses to the lives of the people living in the area where these operations take place. The uncovered pits also serve as a breeding place for mosquitoes, I'm sure. And if we don't find a lasting solution to this Galamsey issue as a nation, and this Galamsey eventually degrades most of our natural resources, I think posterity will not forgive us. Thank you very much for giving me the platform. So, Lawyer Bansing, these politicians only claim they are involved, but actually not involved. It's because the fight against the menace is becoming explicit from Kenneth in Navrungo. The minority is not sincere at all. They are still politicking instead of focusing on what to do to move the country forward. Ghanaians, let's support President Akufo-Addo's initiative of Stop Galamsey now, because we cannot be slave to the Chinese in our own motherland. Brenya Joseph, a.k.a. Kofi Boga, Vision 2009, Manso Adaho. Good morning, TV3 New Day. Waking up and feeling the sunshine. Thank you for the Galamsey issues that have been solved. Well, have they? I'm not too sure about that. But just to be told by TV3 that we're still talking about it, thank you very much. First 100 days of Akufo-Addo's government, energy 70%, economy 70%, agric 80%, security 60%, health 60%, and education 70%. I don't know what interpretation you want to give to it. But let's move on to our guests at this point. And three of my esteemed guests have joined me. To my immediate right, Dr. Ahmed Jinapo, who is a lecturer at the University of Education. Doc, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Pleased to meet you.
Thank you.
Lawyer George Lewis, former MP for North Dai, and Mr. Nana Fredua Oforiata. I nearly said Mr. Sorry, forgive me for the mistake.
That would make it 3 strikes.
Exactly.
This morning. You put me on the sliding side of it, as if you don't want me here.
No, we sit there too.
What's this? What's this?
We sit there too. It's technology.
But you just come back from paragliding in Quill, and you are being
glide
down.
He doesn't want to glide down. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's do what's on the front pages of the dailies, and can you pass them on to me? Daily Graphic this morning says, historic. That's a screaming headline. President Akufo-Addo meets predecessors to discuss economy, security, socio-political issues. Minority calls for inquiry into 2.25 billion domestic bond. And National Policy Summit launched. The Daily Guide this morning says, Nana Addo confers with presidents. Iyoko grills Ibrahim Mahama. NDC fights minister over 2.2 billion bond. 200 Galamsey excavators pull out. And Ghanaian Times says, stop Galamsey today. Ultimatum is done. We discussed that. 26,589 names deleted. Ghost names, public service payroll. Iyoko grants bill to Ibrahim Mahama. Violence erupts between Trokosis and Bimobes. And the Independent newspaper says, President Akufo-Addo calls on former presidents, draws wisdom and experiences. Today newspaper says, Iyoko picks up Ibrahim Mahama. Minority flees government over 100 days achievement. The Finder says, Nana Addo meets 3 Johns. 100 days of MPP government. Not impressive. Mahama minority says that. And Economy Times, Kokobos lashes syndicated loan to 1.3 billion. The Daily Statement says, government to remove 26,000 names from payroll. And finally, the Daily Heritage newspaper says, Akufo-Addo seeks counsel from JJ Kufuor Mahama. Traders protest against 100% rise in market toll. Akufo-Addo blows state funds on lavish parties. Let's start off with the Galamsey issue, because the ultimatum given by Mr. John Peter Amewu ends today. What are expectations, Dr. Ahmed Jinapo?
Well, I think, first of all, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. I listened to the Honorable Minister on a radio station yesterday, and I think from what he said, that the ultimatum that was given seems to be yielding some positive results, in that there are a couple of people who have voluntarily surrounded their machines.
Okay.
based on the report that he's getting, there are some who are still adamant, which is expected. Because I'm even wondering whether some of these Galamseyers are even aware of any ultimatum to that sort, because where they live and what they do, I doubt if they are even preview to what happens in the news.
Right.
He indicates that he'll be visiting some of these sites to get a first-hand information regarding what needs to be done. I'm told there's a 5-year plan that is being rolled out by the current administration, which was something that I was looking forward to, because it looks as if it was becoming too much of a rhetoric. I just wanted to see a strategic plan in dealing with it.
Right.
I think the issue of Galamsey is something that it's in the interest of all of us if it is stopped, because based on what is going on, it's been estimated that within the next 10, 15, 20 years it's going to be catastrophic if it continues at that mode. So I want to see something positive coming up. I just don't want to see it to be as it happened before. If you remember, under the previous administration, there was a ministerial task force that was supposed to deal with this, and it became a one-day wonder. So let's see what happens. I hope that the commitment being demonstrated by the government relative to the utterances by the minister is put into practice, and I think all Ghanaians need to support it.
Council, 500 excavators we've been told have been pulled out. We're also told that the ultimatum ends today. But what else are we to expect? Is that all? Are we making progress?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to our cherished viewers and my co-panelist, yourself. Very, very simple. I think that we've been here before. There have been attempts to, as it were, deal with this menace. I remember even at a point in time when they seized the excavators, we were told that they are bent.
Yes.
And yet it didn't stop. We are encouraged, though, by the fact that there's a 5-year program that we are looking at, as Doc said. And for me, it is the two-pronged approach that we need. That is very important. One, that the ministry itself will not relent, and international pressure will not be brought to bear on them to, as it were, start doing things differently, and that the momentum that we started needs to be maintained. And also, we believe, and I hope that the media will continue to also keep it in the on the front burner, so that consistently, day in, day out, we'll be monitoring progress. Where we need to change tactics, it will be discussed, and then we'll move on. It's a blot on our conscience as a people, and also it's a threat to our very existence. So we must manage it and manage it properly.
Somewhere around the Inzima area, Kukwaville, we're told that some illegal miners have taken advantage of the Easter celebrations. They've gone into cemeteries, they exhume their bodies, create a mass grave, and so they can pave way and do their Galamsey activities in the Eastern region, according to the daily graphic. So I don't know if we're making progress. But
well, let me just say that, you know, they say what? Is it the saying that unless the hunter stops shooting, the bird will do what?
Will also learn to perch.
We shouldn't expect that criminal activity will stop because we say so. Criminal activity will stop because we've moved in there. The criminals will continue to find ways of evading us, and we must sustain the chase. You know, that's the only way we can win this battle.
And Alfredo, the ultimatum ends today. What's happening today?
What's happening?
Yes.
You ask as if I'm in government.
Yes, but you are. It's your party that's fronting this.
I'm not a government official. Let's make a clear distinction. It's important.
You have not had word from your party.
Thank you. Not my party, from government.
Okay.
What I know is what everybody knows. And I think it's a good idea.
Lawyer George Lowe is surprised.
Well, it's a new party, different way of doing things. Like, if they did it that way, that's fine. There was nothing.
Right.
It's just different way of doing things. The
Galamsey.
Yes. I think that the act is very important. I'm a strong advocate for stopping it, Galamsey. As you know, I used to work for the Ochin in his office, and it is a big thing for him. So you can imagine that automatically one learns a little bit more than maybe the average person would want to know about the environment. Now, the cost to us is phenomenal.
Okay.
We've lost lives. Now our water is not in good shape.
Okay.
We've lost land mass, agricultural land mass.
Right.
We might be able to replace it through technological whatevers and scientific whatevers, but it won't be the same as before. All that's the mass, the total, the cumulative effect so far.
Right.
I'm sure if somebody did the proper calculation of what has happened to us in real terms, then it would come to bear more, more obviously what's happened to us. I think that the government has taken a very bold step. It isn't an easy step. You've heard, I mean, it's a political decision that's not easy to take. You've heard what the Galamseyers tell us. They tell us that it employs a lot of people.
Exactly.
They tell us that you get paid 50 cedis a day. That's on the low side. So, and that's nowhere near what people get paid in the salary or whatever. So it's a major thing that's about to happen for a decision like that to be taken. I'd say that the real success is not going to come from just the effort of government, but the participation of the other publics. That includes the media.
Right.
If you guys don't keep this in the news, if you don't keep informing the public about the effect of what's going on, if you don't let people appreciate the linkages and how it's killing us. If you are alive today, it doesn't mean your children will survive. We need to put that in the
Some say it's not
if we
enough
don't
to
do
sit
that,
on
it's a
TV
problem.
and radio, make speeches
But it is
at
a start, because the reality is that this morning thousands of people are watching you, including people who go and finance the Galamsey, including the Galamseyers themselves, including beneficiaries of Galamsey. They need to understand the effect on their lives. Then the rest of us who are not involved in Galamsey, and one of the fastest ways of changing that is through the education by the media.
Right.
So it's important, your role. Then the rest of us, the public, we need to allow ourselves to understand its effect on us. So this whole action, so when, for example, you, the media, are treating the subject, we should make it a habit to understand and appreciate it, teach it to our children.
Right.
I'd be happy if it became a part of the curriculum in some form. We need to imbibe it to understand the value of the environment to us. And this thing is a serious matter. I mean, it is a very serious matter. For me, when we lose one life, there's no other definition for it but recognizing how serious it is. And we've lost many lives.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that the 2 weeks ultimatum is up. The gloves are off. Now the punches should be hard. And I'd hope that we'd all support this initiative. Not only that, they've also taken certain actions. The government has taken certain actions, as I understand it. They're trying to manage the stakeholders, so to speak, so that they can appreciate their role going forward. I think it's important for us to do that. In fact, I've been made to understand that the minister has been doing his best to try and engage them to sort of get involved in another way, get involved in the economy in another way. It's not going to be easy. It won't be overnight. It might take us years, but at least the start is important, and its sustainability is also important.
Right. Doc?
I think the point needs to be made that there's nobody in this country, right from the people who operate the Galamsey, to people like you in the media and me, who do not understand and appreciate the negative effects of Galamsey. It's just the fact that government...
You'd be surprised?
Yes, I'm listening.
So you'd be surprised that there are people who don't understand.
Who don't understand.
Well, I mean, majority of Ghanaians should know. And the whole problem has been that government, which is mandated to ensure that there's law and order, have more or less relaxed in its responsibilities.
How?
In the sense that, look, Galamsey is illegal mining. So if something is illegal, what does it mean? It means that what you are doing is wrong.
Exactly.
And who is mandated to enforce the law?
But there's also the reverse question which is asked about the lack of jobs, which is pushing
but
people
that is no
into
excuse. That is no excuse. I mean, if you say because of lack of jobs, I should get into armed robbery.
The first law of nature is survival, is it not?
No, listen. The fact of the matter is that, unfortunately and quite regretfully, most of the people who happen to even be the financiers of this whole project are people in authority. I mean, any serious investigation will attest to the fact that, look, we have people in government, people in politics, chiefs, and influential people who are behind this thing. And they know that what is going on is wrong. So I want to see a committed government. And that is where I say that, look, this government needs to be commended for the steps that it's taking now And I agree with Nana that how sustainable and dedicated they are in the effort to fight that Galamsey is what is going to tell us whether the fight is successful or not.
Right.
I think media has a responsibility to call on government to give us a progress report. You know the way things happen in Ghana. When something is in the news, I mean, there's so much attention within 2 or 3 months when something pops up. We need to know what a progress report. Today we are being told that 200 trucks or whatever has been retrieved.
In fact, the Daily Heritage says 500 excavators.
500 excavators.
Daily Guide says
let's
200.
Let's see what happens next week. Let's see what happens next month.
Right.
And the ministers or whoever are responsible have to be giving us what? Progress report. Not as if we just hear something happening, then within a short period, then we go back to bed.
But
Okay.
the question is,
Yes.
what happened to the Inusa Fuseni task force?
Task force. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What happened to that? I mean, why haven't we heard anything?
Anything about it?
And
Inusa
quite a bit of
Fuseni is
quite
not
a,
in charge anymore.
no,
It's
but
John
why
Peter who is
didn't
in
we
charge.
hear anything? It's important, and that you see.
I know that he started with the drones. I know that he had a task force that went onto the ground at the time.
For me,
and so some work was done.
For me, there are two things. One, and recently he's been talking on air, but it doesn't solve anything.
Right.
One, a lot of noise was made. Good noise, in my opinion. I liked the fact that something was going to be done about it. So it was good noise. A lot of noise was made. That's expensive. It should reap us benefits. Two, certain actions supposedly were taken.
Okay.
What was the effect of that? Where did we end up? Why did it still continue?
Okay.
Why did it look like a 9-day wonder? We need answers so that the sitting government does not make those mistakes. That's part of the essence of continuity.
Right.
Yeah, but Nana,
we need to know those things.
All Peter Mewu needs to do is to sit at table over tea with and find out what was happening.
See,
because he's been talking really, and he's been telling us what he did.
That's not the answer.
To a certain point.
Right.
And then he was moved.
That's not the answer.
And then he was moved to roads.
Institutional
that's
memory is
not
good,
the-
is it?
but that's not the answer.
And then no, that is it's not about.
You are busy trying to answer my statement.
It's not about the
It's not
answer.
the answer.
All I'm
what
saying
is
is
important is that the rest of us did not benefit
I'm
from
saying that
knowing
we
what
have
the
moved
effect
on
of that
one at
action
a
was.
time.
We have
One
moved
at a
on,
time.
and
So I don't understand.
what I'm
One
saying
at a
that
time.
It's easy for you to say move on because you don't want to hold, hold on to
no,
that risk.
we are on
you
a
failed
new
in that
operation.
sense. And
Nobody
we're talking
failed.
about
One
that.
at a
Yes,
time.
you failed. You
One
did
at
not
a
give
time,
us a
gentlemen.
report.
Nobody failed.
You didn't give us a report. So we're where we are today.
Okay,
That's
so,
a failure.
So he's suggesting, council is suggesting that perhaps Mr. Mewu could sit at
I
table
doubt
with,
that it hasn't
lawyer
happened. I'm
Fuseni.
saying, do you know that?
And I'm
You
saying
see, that's the
all he
point.
needs
You
to
think
do
that
is move
back,
on and learn from
your
past experiences.
backdoor things.
You
When
see,
when you're not held
you are
responsible, you get caught up and move
You
on.
are not
and
helping
we
this.
need
Okay.
to know what happened.
You are not
Nana,
helping
Nana,
this. You are
that's
not
the
helping.
failure.
That is one of the reasons why the good people of this country said there needs to be a change.
Exactly.
Now the ball is in
That
your court.
doesn't answer the question.
No, the
I
ball
don't
is
know
in
what
your
you are
court.
trying to
But
say.
but you are in
There's
government
this
now,
intervention
right?
was unnecessary. I'm saying that it was an unnecessary intervention. I'm saying that you need to know what happened. Do we know?
Yeah, but I told
But
you,
the only
I've
reason that
I've
we-
already
the
said
current
it.
minister-
The minister-
I've
who
already
says
said
that-
I said that we've been there.
Who says that the minister? Who says that the minister isn't meeting
Machines
with
that
Mr.
were
Fuseni?
seized,
Who
some
knows?
were bent.
That's not our
and-
concern.
and
Our
all
concern
that.
is that the
So
rest
it
of
means
us,
that
the public,
you
who
couldn't
were
solve
made
the
to
problem
engage
completely.
with
You have
we
come.
don't know
So
what happened.
Let George
I am
Lawrence
saying that
express his issue.
I have already
You're
given
busy
you a
trying
picture.
to defend. The two of
I'm
you, I don't
already
understand
giving
why
you-
you're busy
no,
trying to
I'm
defend
saying
this
it's not about defense.
It's an
I've already
unnecessary
told you
statement.
that this thing, there was a process.
Okay.
Right? It didn't seem to have solved the problem completely.
Yeah.
You have come in.
You should
and
tell
there's
us
a
what
new
happened.
There's a new approach.
That is not the point.
And we are all supporting the
That
approach.
is not the point.
If there is anything Mr. Menu who wants to learn, he should talk to.
But I think
Who
that
says I'm
Nana-
talking about
Nana-
Mr.
Nana
Mewu?
Federal
I'm
raises-
talking about we, the
Nana
Ghanaian people.
Federal
You're
raises
busy
a
trying to
valid
defend
point. It says that
what?
if you're given a mandate,
What are you talking
you
about?
need to account for your stewardship. And so,
And you see, you're even
But-
making it sound
but what-
academic
no,
and
what I'm saying is that
that's not what I'm
what
interested
I'm
in.
saying-
I'm
what
interested
I'm
in
saying
the
that
fact
you want
that
a report.
we, the
Which
Ghanaian
report?
people, should
Because
have
the
been
process-
told
one at a
about
time,
what was
gentlemen.
happening.
One at a time.
That's
No,
what
please.
it is. You're busy talking about they should go and do backdoor things. That's not my interest. My interest
where
is that.
backdoor things means
Well,
what?
he said they should go and sit in a room and discuss it. Who says they haven't? I don't know. You don't know. What we are interested in, the reason today it is a topic, is because it's been put out there.
Right.
And I'm saying every action today, you're able to debate whether it's 200 vehicles or 500 vehicles. All that is good information for us, the public. So we know what is going on. Did you give us any information? I'm saying that is what we need to know.
but
When we know,
This is because the
when
media-
we know,
this
when
is
we
because
I
the
can
media-
call all the
inconsistent
names you want.
that
The
you
fact
have
is
been
that
put-
when
the fact that remains
about what
there was a
happened there,
process.
it gives us an
There was a process
understanding
that didn't
of
finish.
where we
Can
are.
we have
take
Can
over.
we have
well, I don't know what you're afraid of.
one at a time?
What is afraid
Okay.
of? I said
So-
there's a process going on.
Okay.
The process didn't end. Somebody has come to
If there was
inherit
a
that
failure, tell us
Right?
why it failed.
Somebody had come to
I
inherit that.
don't know why Nana Fedra is
I don't know,
pushing the failure angle.
No.
We have a national crisis on our hands. And I don't think that
But
saying
you
that
see,
we
clearly,
failed-
then it means you aren't listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying, whatever happened, let us know. The failure. And it was a failure because you failed to tell us. That's why I'm placing.
Musa has been
That's
speaking
why
about
I'm
this
placing.
thing.
George, hold on,
I don't
please.
understand.
That's
I
why.
think
That's
he's talking
why.
as-
Why is he telling?
honestly.
Why is he telling us that because there's an action taken? Why didn't he tell us that when he was handling that matter?
But you have power now.
Oh, well, that's not a
Let-
response.
let-
Yes,
let-
that's not a very good answer.
No, finally.
So let's
We have power, so
I'm
what?
not
Let's-
answering.
Nana,
And so what's the
Nana,
retort
Nana,
for?
Nana,
What's the
let's-
point of that retort?
Nana,
Well,
Nana,
What's the point of that retort?
Doctor,
What's the point of that retort?
Dr. Jinapo.
let's say
I don't get it.
Inusa Fuseni did not give us a report.
Right.
Let's say he did not.
Not that, let's say, did he?
He did not.
That's all.
Inusa Fuseni did not give us a
Nana
report.
He failed to manage
Nana allowed Doc to.
He
to-
failed.
Because
to
he
give-
favors your position
you.
too.
No, I don't have a
Otherwise-
Inusa Fuseni under normal
I need
circumstances
to
should have
be in
given
control
us
of the
a
program.
report. He failed. Today, there's a new
Oh,
dispensation.
that, you see,
No,
this
this
is
is a
what
fact.
this is what kills
What is the
Ghanaians.
relevance
Gentlemen,
of
This is the attitude that kills us.
Nana,
He did not give us a report.
This is the attitude
He
that
should have
kills
given
us.
us a
Fairness to
report. He did
everybody.
not.
This is the attitude that kills us.
exited that ministry. They were handing over notes.
Okay.
In this new
there you go,
dispensation,
another
we handed
cop.
over. They were
Another
handing
cop
over
out.
notes
Exactly.
from the ministry.
Another cop
I mean,
out.
There
you see,
was a transition.
You are
in
caught
this.
and I'm
up.
saying
The
that
three of
Enusa
you are
is an
caught
individual.
up, busy
No,
leaving
and
the
Enusa
responsibility
is an individual.
within the government
There
sector.
was an institution
Okay.
called
You are
Ministry
busy.
of Mines
The three of you are busy.
and there was a handing over notes given to your
You are
government.
you are busy.
So don't come and sit here and say
I'm
that.
sitting here talking about
Thank you.
Ghanaians, not
No,
government.
yeah, I'm
Let's
talking
You are
about-
failing. You are failing.
Thank you,
I'm talking
gentlemen.
about
Let's move on.
Ghanaians.
So yesterday,
Please get your-
You are sitting here busy
in the spirit of
defending
backdoor,
failure.
yesterday there was a historic meeting. President Akufo-Addo met his predecessors, President Rawlings, President Mahama, and President Kufuor. They discussed economy, security, socio-political issues. I'll start with you, Council. Good call.
Well, I have, from time immemorial, always said that I would have been happy if, on daily basis, the current president, would take a phone, say good morning to the former presidents, and discuss the things that he wants to do, on that day, and pick up their brains. It's a healthy exercise. You get many more ideas. You draw from their rich experiences. So this is a good start for Nana-Addo. We hope that it continues.
Okay.
He hopes that the reported atmosphere that was said to have existed, I hope that we keep to that if it's anything to go by.
Right.
I was only laughing because, when I looked at the picture in front of the picture, I looked at everybody and
You are
their
not going there.
facial experience.
You are not-
expression.
you are not going there,
You
are you?
cannot be too sure what would have transpired. But that was the lighter side. What I really want to say is that it's a very good start. And we want to see our former presidents bond, and it should be done in a spirit of truthfulness,
Right.
a spirit of respect for each other, and Ghana will be there better.
Nana Fedra, can this be sustained?
Can it be sustained?
Yeah.
I don't know why that would come up. It's not an issue. I don't think it's an issue. I think that what is important is the fact that it has happened. And what is important is the fact that it was based on a pledge made by the president that this kind of thing would go on.
Right.
It's a truism when you have people before you in a certain position, particularly in a political position, it makes sense to inquire. That's why in the previous discussion I found...
We're not going in the previous discussion.
So I should keep quiet.
Trust Nana.
Let's move on, please.
So I should keep quiet.
No.
I don't understand your point. I'm
let's
trying to
move
make a point and I don't
you
get
know
it.
that when you raise that, lawyer George...
I am not...
responds.
You don't know.
Okay, let's move on, please.
No, I'm making a point.
Please do.
Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was saying, like in the previous discussion. It's a matter of fact that you get that information. There's no dispute about that. But in this instance, the beauty is that it's a public show.
Right.
That public show has an effect. It's going to tell people that this is a new unified country. It's going to let us understand that politics is not being antagonistic. It's not about enemyism, if there's a word like that. It's about knowing that you're building a country. Construction of this country will never stop. It will never stop. What our children will want this country to look like is not what we want it to look like. So it will never stop. But if you let that seamlessness show, in the way we do things, it helps a lot. And that's what has been achieved for me. It's important. So that whole action was good. I don't expect that it will stop.
Okay.
I doubt it, because that's what the president told us.
Right.
There's, you know, all the three previous presidents made mistakes, major ones and minor ones.
Right.
It is our prayer that they don't allow President Akufo-Addo to make those mistakes. And this is the opportunity for them to begin that type of a relationship, public and private, so that those mistakes aren't made. So when he makes mistakes, they are totally new mistakes.
Okay.
And then we can move on. And in that instance, when they are new mistakes, I'd expect that they'd be supportive. They don't have to be public about their support. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they'll be supportive so that we can fix it. And that's how you build a country.
Doc, to the extent that there's a claim that all these personalities have followers, and it sends a key signal out there for them to unite, even because their admirers have united. You think that it will achieve that effect?
I hope it does, but I mean, let's start from what the graphic says. The historic President Akufo-Addo meets predecessors to discuss economy, security, socio-political issues.
Right.
I stand to be corrected, but I think Nana Fredo and George should help me out. Have there ever been a meeting between President Mahama and the two former presidents when he was president, where it's never happened before, like where he called?
I know that there's a one-on-one, but not a conference as this nature.
Right. So that's
and not possibly made on this public.
No, as for the public, you can decide to make it public if you want.
No, I'm saying.
But if there was anything of that sort, if there was nothing of that sort, then it's historic.
In fact, yes, the president mentioned that his inaugural
agreed. That's his
ceremony and the State of the Nation address.
Your concern is that it's been termed as historic.
Yes, and I wanted to.
The reason it's historic is that you have three presidents who are around, three former, who are around, and then they've gotten invited to this. It hasn't happened before. We haven't had a situation where we have three presidents.
So that's what I'm doing.
Right. I thought you asked us to clarify.
I remember that President Kufuor had invited Mills and taken him out.
Yes.
Those have happened before, but I'm saying
that's what I'm saying.
So
this
show.
Let me. That's what I'm trying to establish. That where you have a sitting president call the other former presidents to meet as a group. So if this is the first time, then it's historic.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Historic. There's nothing wrong about it. And I think it should be encouraged, because the point that you made was the symbolism in itself, where we have people who, like it or hate it, have followers, seeing the pictures, and it's something that is commendable. But you asked Nana Fredo an important question, which is sustainability, how sustainable it is. In the sense that if you listen to the reportage that is being given to this meeting, I think the whole team has been that they met and they had a frank discussion. Frank discussion centered on what? Economy, national security, and socio-political issues. That's quite a broad, what do they call it, area to be discussed within 2 hours. Unless maybe because this is the first time that they are meeting, they just want to set the agenda.
Right.
And that comes back to Nana Fredo's point I was making before, relative to the Galamsey issue.
Okay.
Are we going to get a feedback as to what was discussed among the
Are you going back to that?
No, I mean, let me finish. Are we going to get the minutes? Are we going to get what?
You won't get.
Let me finish.
Yesterday there was a communique.
That was why it was in camera.
So you won't get details of it.
So what it makes is that it's not every information that is brought to what? The public arena. You understand what I'm saying? So I think it's a good start. I think it adds up to the stature of the president as a unifier. But I will want to see that moving forward, most of these, what did you call it, discussions are brought to the public domain, so that we know how patriotic.
Finally, let me ask you, what do you say to those who say that they are not sure if President Mahama will gun for 2020 and that he shouldn't have attended that meeting?
This I think that's a different ball game altogether. If President
Why
Mahama,
is it a different ball game?
Because if President Mahama even decides to contest as a presidential candidate, he still remains a former president. Right. There's no doubt about it. And as a former president, if this is a meeting between former presidents and the president, he has a role to play. Right. But you see, I've always said this, And I think it needs to be stated. At the end of the day, for us Ghanaians, our interest is bread and butter.
Exactly.
We are interested in how the economy will move, such that there will be development and prosperity, so that each of us all will enjoy.
Yeah, but
let me land on this note. Look, if President Nana-Addo is a successful president, he sets the bar up for what? Whoever is coming, whether from the NDC or from the NPP, to continue from that level. So if these three individuals have a repertoire of what knowledge and wisdom that the president can tap in, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Politics will be politics, whether you like it or not.
Okay.
There's definitely going to be what? An NDC structured agenda in terms of how it wants to win power. And there's going to be an NPP structured agenda in terms of how it wants to stay in power.
Right.
But at the end of the day, can they come together for the
Absolutely.
betterment of this nation?
Absolutely.
I think that's what we need.
And it's important to state that if there is anybody who should be at this meeting, it's President
Mahama.
because he is
Immediate
the
past.
immediate past, so maybe he has more current
The last time
information.
Rawlings was in power,
he
years?
has more current
70,
information
was it 70
than
years?
all the rest. So.
Anyway, we'll move on with the conversation. Join us on WhatsApp 050-823-5228. That's 050-823-5228. We're also on Twitter at News on TV3. Hashtag is TV3 New Day. You can ask at the hashtag Stop Galamsey. Now let's let our government know that we are serious about this. But the NDC is fighting the finance minister, the minority in parliament, has sternly warned that it will drag the new patriotic party government to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice charge over conflict of interest in the issuance of $2.25 billion domestic bond at a coupon rate of 19.75. Interestingly, let's find out what the definition of conflict of interest is on our touch screen. Okay, so this is it. Conflict of interest is a noun. It says a situation in which the concerns or aims of two different parties are incompatible. And the conflict of interest between two elected officials and corporate lobbyists. And a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefit from actions or decisions made in their official capacity. So that's definition right there. So there's no ambiguity then. But the minority raised the question that indeed Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, his wife, Dr. Angela Ofori-Atta, and the Attorney General Gloria Kufu are partners and shareholders of a company close to Franklin Templeton Investment Limited that bought the 95% of the bond. I'll start with you, Nana, on this one. Is there a genuine cause to raise a red flag?
I think so. I think if there is a doubt, it should be put out there. We shouldn't run away from the fact that these are things that are of interest to good governance. So if in a government something happens, that would be a matter of conflict of interest. It must be exposed. So on that score, I have no problem whatsoever.
Right.
Now, when you expose it, two things are going to happen. Regardless of the end result of your investigation,
Right.
you've put out somebody's name, and potentially you're marring that person's image negatively. You're going to give that person a certain image, because people pick news in portions. They don't just wait and find out everything. People pick bits and pieces. As we're speaking, somebody listened to a few sentences and shut off their TV and left. So they leave with what they heard. They don't hear the concluding point on any issue. So it happens. So when you put out that thing, the first thing is that you're putting somebody's name out.
Okay.
Therefore, you must be very careful that what you're saying, you're dead sure about.
Okay.
The second point is that whatever it is that you're doing, and especially in the political space, in the public interest space, must be to the benefit of the Ghanaian. In our case, it must be to our benefit. So between these two things, I don't have a problem with that. If they can prove that what they're doing is also the right thing. Are they dead sure about what they're saying? Now, here are the real facts about this matter, as you've read them. A certain gentleman is part of Company A, and they go and make an investment in X. Company A makes an investment in X. Gentleman is part of Company A. Gentleman is also part of Company B, which has made no investments or done no nothing. In Company B, the person propagating the investment in Ghana, in X, Company B finds their relatives there. So Mr. A, who is in Company B and Company A must not do anything. Is that what we're saying?
To the extent that he's in government, to the extent
I'm saying, is that what we're saying? We're saying that because you are connected, because the 110 people nominated by the president to govern, because they are in government, all their relatives should stop working.
What are the rules of engagement to become a public official?
So let's ask. I'm saying, in that score, given your question, 110 people, all their relatives and friends should stop working. Is that what we're saying?
I'm not.
That's what this is. Because the question, you see, they don't say that the company in which Mrs. Oforiatta or Madam Ekufu and this gentleman are the ones who have made the investment. They said the individual who is a friend of these people and shares a company with them, and these people are related in one form or the other through politics or whatever to the finance minister. Therefore, the friend should not be investing in Ghana.
It's the Attorney General here. It is the wife of the finance minister.
I'm saying.
And it is the
finance
minister himself.
But are they the ones directly or indirectly making the investment?
Is it also true that they are partners of this?
But
frankly,
if that is the case,
who have 95% of it?
Yes, if that is the case, fine. But therefore, the friends and partners shouldn't make investments.
And I'm asking, Councillor, you've been in Parliament. Of course, you structure the laws. Tell me, what are the rules of engagement for a Minister of State? Must you have such strings?
You see, it's interesting the angles I'm hearing all over the place about this thing. Look, a simple matter of conflict of interest has been raised. Okay? I don't see why people think that they want to jump to the defense. Let investigation go a full haul and let's establish whether there indeed was a conflict of interest situation or not. Look, you know that for Ghana, the most authoritative source of conflict of interest is Shraj.
Right.
And what does he say? He says a public officer shall not put himself in a position where his personal interest conflicts or is likely to conflict with the performance of the functions of his office.
Okay.
So we are saying that, look, this is a finance minister who already we've raised issues about. You remember his vetting, we're talking about offshore companies and dealings and things that we're not happy about. But he went ahead, he was approved. Now, clandestinely, and I choose my words carefully, he goes and engage in this kind of dealing.
Clandestine?
Let me tell you, the Attorney General, wait, the Attorney General of this country, Madam Gloria Ekufu, says, I know nothing about the bond issue.
Okay.
Who discussed it? Here is a case where we don't have a cabinet. So where did the decision come from? The Parliamentary Select Committee has not been involved, or Parliament itself has not been involved. Right. So we go and one day we go and engage with our family and friends, and we come with a bond issue. He says it's not adding anything to our debt stock. Please. You see, the mistake people make is that they are talking about debt stock. It's not about debt stock. Do we know how much in terms of arrangement fees and things like that? Do we know insurance fees and which company insured it? Right. And don't forget that even Madam Gloria Kufu, who is the Attorney General of this country, who belongs to who was on the subsidiary company that has been brought into this issue, she was still a director when this thing was issued. She only resigned on 1st April. This thing was done in end of March.
That would be the failing of Parliament then.
Please. You see, when you are approved,
he's distorting
listen,
facts.
Why I'm not distorting. Why?
You are.
Please, you don't know. I know my facts. You know yours. Listen, I know my please. I know my facts.
I'll give you a chance to rebut.
Over here, you said you were so knowledgeable.
I'll give you a chance to rebut.
Knowledgeable just as every public person.
Please continue.
So you are not talking for a position.
I will give him a chance to rebut.
I say you are not talking for a position of
double standard.
No, you are not talking.
First of all, you are not telling the truth.
Please.
And then you are not putting out facts.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Is the company that you claim Gloria Kufu was a director of, is that the company that has made the investment?
Have you heard?
Hold on. George,
have you heard the word subsidiary? No, did you hear the
George, wrap up your point. I'll give you a chance to rebut. George, wrap up your point.
The circumstances makes us uncomfortable.
Okay.
We believe that the finance minister has a case to answer, and he must come and clear himself beyond reasonable doubt.
George,
that
double standards.
He did not engage in anything untoward where this deal is concerned. We are convinced that all the circumstances paint a picture of insider dealing, paint a picture of dealing with family and friends. So, and we are saying that the whole transaction lacked transparency.
Are you suggesting that the constitution has been flouted in this?
I am saying that, listen, when we go for even bond issues, don't we do road shows? Is it for fun that we do road shows?
No.
Is it the fun that we bring the program that we want to do to Parliament for Parliament to agree, whether it's a debt swap as they want us to believe or whatever? I am saying that it lacks transparency, and we are saying that looking at the whole thing where a friend of the finance minister, a business associate of his, and some other ministers, including the Attorney General, gets 95% of a bond.
When are you dragging the finance minister to charge?
Well, one, there is a call for a parliamentary inquiry, and then I believe that others will do strike.
But yesterday the press conference was emphatic that you're dragging him.
Yes,
if you have a case,
I'm even aware.
When are you
I'm even
dragging
aware
him
that this is not ending here, but at the international level, we will go to the end.
When? The question is when?
Oh, as soon as practicable. As soon as practicable.
The dead horse. They like playing with dead animals. They like playing with dead animals.
I don't see why Nana should jump.
What you started, what your statement said initially, when you started, you said we should wait for investigation. Then you've gone ahead to judge the person.
I haven't judged the person.
You've called him names, all kinds of things that you've done here. Very shameful. Double standards. You say one thing and then do another right here, all in a minute. All in a minute. Double standards.
Gentlemen,
you've come and tried to defend people. George, you sat here and tried to defend people.
George,
everything, the words that you've used here.
No, show me one word. It's English.
Okay.
It's English.
Sat here and called him double, all kinds of double standards.
All right, let's do a few messages. When they come
That's
down,
why
we'll
I
have
chose
the
my words
conversation.
careful.
What was
This
this?
is,
That's why I chose my words careful.
Good morning, TV3. Please let me draw your attention to the fact that it is not only gold that is illegally mined in Ghana. Forest reserves are also destroyed by Chinese logs. The East Gonja district in the northern region is an example, and many other places are being destroyed by these people under the watch of government officials. It's so sad. Dr. Jinapo, in the Fourth Republic, this is the first time you have a sitting president inviting his predecessors for a roundtable discussion on the way forward of the country. I love your submission still, Kofi Latif. And nice step by the president of the country, but the question is, will the immediate past president with wholeheartedness be willing to add his ideas to help Nana Addo's government to keep him in opposition, I'm sure? And I don't think so. From Noble Adansi, Kwapian. Well, it's good President Nana has realized he needs to tap some knowledge of governance from the former president than to rely on the senior minister who is already driving the bus into the... Really? That's not... Or Niayi Nabufo. Well, wow. Ghana is really a beautiful country and a matured country. These leaders of different political backgrounds meeting to deliberate on national issues is rare in many African countries and even the world at large. I'm blessed to be a Ghanaian from TB Zion. Doc, let me pick your thoughts about this conflict of interest issue. What exactly is running through your mind? Finance Minister says is actually going to save us some $600 million by this action, and is not going to add to the debt stock. But there's also the question of the legality of it and whether he is breaking the law or not, together with the Attorney General.
I think there are three issues that comes up when it comes to this whole thing. Number one, the issue of whether the contractual agreement entered into by Ghana relative to this bond is something that is profitable to the nation. But that is not even the issue on the table as it stands now relative to, what did they call it, conflict of interest. Right. Two things need to be known. One, the NDC has not been able to establish as of now that the finance minister has been engaged in conflict of interest. Okay. It's an allegation. And not just an allegation. What they are saying is that the finance minister, by virtue of his relationship to a gentleman called Templeton or whatever it is, right?
Frankly,
intentionally increased the interest rate to the benefit of this gentleman. Right. You understand what I'm saying? It's not about conflict of interest. What this says is that it's marks of criminality. It's marks of fraud. That you intentionally more or less pad the interest rate because you have somebody who you are related
not
to,
a joke,
such that that person will benefit. It's a serious accusation. Very serious accusation. And an allegation of this sort, I would expect the finance minister, if he's innocent, to ask his accusers to what? To prove it.
Okay.
And
is that not why they're going to try?
No, I'm coming. Let me finish. for him to prove it. And I would expect that an allegation of this sort would not have to end here. It definitely needs to be investigated.
Okay.
The issue of Gloria Kufu has come in, and it's so interesting that depending on which side of the pendulum you swing to, it dictates how you speak to it.
Ventilate your issues.
In the sense that Gloria Kufu was brought in by the NDC because Gloria Kufu, according to the NDC, was involved by virtue of conflict of interest. That is, he happens to work for this company, and this company is benefiting. So they use that as a basis to substantiate their case. But here is the case. Gloria Kufu is saying that, look, I'm not even aware. Do you understand what I'm saying?
She's not aware that she's a director.
I'm not aware of the contract. I'm not aware.
But the critical question before we get there is, Master Minister of State,
I'm getting there.
You're having a private
no, just
enterprise.
listen to the development of my case. That I'm not aware. So if she's not aware, what it means is that this whole issue of conflict of interest with her being involved doesn't come. You understand what I'm saying? No, it doesn't. No, let me land on this.
Yeah, no,
what is being
said?
No,
listen. Legally is me.
We will get there. We will get to the minister.
Illegality.
No, what is being said?
George.
What is being said by the NDC is that, look, there's conflict of interest.
Right.
And that conflict of interest is proven by the fact that, one, Kenufuriate's wife happened to work for this company, which, whether it's a subsidiary or not, has a relationship with what? The mother company. Gloria Kufu, who is the Attorney General, happens to work for one of these companies. So by virtue of she working for that company, and she being the Attorney General, she used her position to what? To influence the passage of this bond.
If she's working two jobs.
It's not true because
but why are you saying that because she said she? I'm saying that investigation should be conducted.
I agree. Let me land.
That is what I'm saying. It is not wrong.
So no, you cannot come to.
You concluded your investigation.
Your investigation is not done.
No, he's not saying that, so nobody.
He has done the investigation.
We have made an allegation.
George has done the investigation.
You have made an allegation.
George,
okay.
Allow George.
The lady is saying that
George has done the investigation.
But that's what she's saying.
No, she's saying it's not aware, and you are saying for her not to be aware goes to more or less affirm the fact that the allegation that you are making is true, because the Attorney General needs to know.
Okay.
That's the point that we are making.
Right.
Yes. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. That's the point that we are making.
Do you support the call to go to Shraj?
Of course, why not?
Okay.
An issue of this nature of criminality, you definitely have to go to Shraj.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. But you see, this thing is both political and what? And legal.
Okay.
Political and legal.
You're right.
In the sense that at the end of the day, look, this thing will have to go to Shraj.
Okay.
But you also will agree with me that there's some kind of political what? Connotation.
There is?
There is, in the sense that if
who is dragging who?
No, I mean, it's political in the sense that, look, if the NDC seriously thinks that there's issue of criminality, they should have gone to Shraj before even organizing a press conference.
Right.
Oh, but when was it? No, when was the team? When was the team?
When
was the team?
The press conference was yesterday.
Easter holiday.
But what he's saying is that this whole process
was Shraj working during the Easter holiday.
Was Shraj working yesterday?
Oh, look at it.
When our minority in parliament had the right to raise it.
Have you written to Shraj?
When you ask him what is he going to say, he says at the right time.
At the right time.
What's the right time?
But the minority had the right. The minority had the right.
Oh no, nobody says you don't.
Yes, so what about
it's about your failings.
No, what failing? What failing?
He suggested that.
Why? When you hear of issues and you raise them, the following.
He suggested that. If you are serious about this,
let's get serious on this.
This bond matter was discussed last week.
Okay.
You guys were busy debating the percentage.
Even the Attorney General, he said that, but even the Attorney General said
in Ghana.
So what kind of
that
is double standard.
You say
I'm saying that we will go to every extent to establish
the lecturer at the University of Education.
You want to
George, thank you very much.